Hello and welcome to the Climate Podcast post-match reaction, sponsored by NordVPN. I'm your host, Dan Rolinson, joined by Matt Kendrick. We've just got home from Villa Park. Not much happened tonight, was it? Pretty quiet one this evening. Matt, how are you? How's things?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm still a bit tender, a bit hungover, but that woke me from my whatever slumber or whatever it was. I mean, are we just going to go straight in and talk about? I've been thinking what to call it. I've been thinking like is it like JD and Smoke is one. I think like Rocket Duran. I don't want to call it a Thunder because it's a swear word in it, and we're a lovely family friendly show. So I need something. What are the friendly? We'll stick this in the comments. What are the family friendly ways of describing an absolute screamer like that? Because we know that these ones that involve, expletives. What would you call it?
I don't know if off the top of my head, I can't think of a name other than the one that you're referring to that we won't say, because as you say, we're a family friendly podcast. We appeal to all audiences. I would describe Jhon Duran as having a foot like a traction engine. Unbelievable, isn't it? We can't not start with it, although it makes absolutely no sense chronologically. But he only scores bankers, doesn't he? Like the one against Ajax in the Conference League, that was kind of, is it over? Is it not? Smashed it off the crossbar. Crystal Palace, he only scores great. Even the headers he scores aren't, what you consider thunder whatevers. But even they're not great looking goals, very aesthetically pleasing. Jhon Duran's goals are.
Every game we've won this season, he's come off the bench and scored the winner.
Yeah, we got 9 points, not just because of Jhon Duran, but kind of.
It's remarkable. I can't remember a time where I've been celebrating a goal with such shock and awe on my face and looking around. Obviously,
What did you do?
Martinez showed a clip of that, didn't they? His reaction, like just looking completely, what the hell's he done there? And then there's a Nana on the bench I noticed with like kind of doing the old, the Ian Taylor can't remember whenever it was, Ian Taylor's famous, disbelieving rubber the head. Nobody other than Jhon Duran thought that was on. Thought that was worth having a pop, and it was just magnificent, wasn't it? Just what I've said to you before we come on air. It's a maverick.
Me and my dad said on the way out that we were both fooled by going in. It's usually the other way around, isn't it? You go, oh, it's going in. Oh no, it's actually miles wide. But as soon as he hit it, I know it's only a very split second, but I was like, shanked it. Like it's going more towards the corner flag than it is towards the goal. Oh, what? It's gone in. Like, how did that happen? Like I was hands on the head, fully like squealed like an excitable toddler. That was just again it being the winner as well. Just has that little kind of chef's kiss on top as well. But yeah, unbelievable. I'll ask you about your feelings in a second. I just want to rattle off some of the family-friendly comments that we've had, and I'll kind of get your reaction to it. So we've got a Colombian hammer from Timothy, which I don't mind. Reminds me of Der Hammer though. Hitzelsberger, kind of crossovers there. A boom rocket says India, which I quite like. Captain Chaos says Mr. Cheesefire, which is a way to describe him rather than the goal itself. My favourite one, and I will over-pronunciate this to prove we're family friendly. Thunder punt. A thunder punt.
That's a P.
Yeah. Thunderbolt. Savotastic, says Fred Blogs, referring to Savo's goal against Leeds. Yeah, decent. I do like this one from Anthem. We'll move on after this one. The Colombian Cannon Slammer. That's good, isn't it? How do you rate those family-friendly alternatives to Thunder?
Colombian Cannon Slammer sounds like, I don't know, sounds like a cocktail or something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But you wonder where I was going to go with that there.
Yeah.
Say again.
Or a high-end, high-security prison, maybe. Yeah. Let's talk about the game in some kind of chronological order. Obviously, there was a little bit of maybe nervousness or a bit of worry when Everton, who are not as good as Aston Villa, are 2-0 up at Villa Park. Did you see that coming?
I didn't see them going 2-0 up at Villa Park, but I think you never quite believe it will happen. But I think when we got the first goal back, I thought you can, Aston Villa, this is going to sound really, really patronising now, really delusions of grandeur. But Aston Villa pretty much beat Everton at Villa Park. I know we didn't last season in the cup, but so you kind of knew that was going to happen. That was going to be the outcome. We just decided to take a particular scenic route today. But yeah, when we pulled the first goal back, both their goals were so avoidable, weren't they? You know, it was just ending, and I don't want to split hairs too much because we, third in the league. We've had a really good start to the season in the Premier League, but we don't keep clean sheets anymore, do we?
No.
That needs to be a dying art, and I think today Calvert-Lewin, I know he scored his header. I don't think his finishing was great, other than that, but in terms of him playing as an old style centre forward who put it about a bit and could look after himself with a back to goal and in the air, I thought we struggled. I thought, we missed that little bit of a physical presence. Beautiful footballers, haven't we, across our defensive line normally, but I thought we were a little bit physically intimidated by them. So, yeah, and I didn't see it coming, but neither did I. I did it 2-0. I was worried at 2-0, but when we got that one back, I thought we're just going to find a way to come back and win this.
Yeah, I still wasn't massively worried at 2-0 because that there's always at least one goal in us, and I thought, well, if we get the one, hopefully the momentum will shift a little bit, and we'll at least get back to draw the game. Which, obviously hindsight is easy to say now, but I think even if we'd have come from 2-0 down just to draw, that would still be relatively underwhelming. Villa should be beating Everton if they want to be a top four side. So to win it in the way that we did is obviously excellent, but also kind of par for the course. Like I expected us to win that game.
Yeah.
Me and Jhon do the match previews and we write down our predictions now and share them on screen. Still got mine here because we only did it yesterday. That's what I went with, 5-1. Like I was thinking, Villa will score goals and this will be relatively easy, and that's not exactly how it went at all. But I never still felt massively worried that Everton are going to kind of do us here. You're right about the kind of physicality of Calvert-Lewin, and again, this wasn't every time, but there was occasions where I felt like he's kind of got Pau Torres on toast. Yeah, like he's getting the better of him more often than not, and that's not really Pau Torres' game. Yes, he's a defender, but he's there to help us attack, really, in a roundabout way. He's not great in the air, and that's what Everton are good at. And I don't want to kind of oversimplify Everton because they do what they do, and there's no right or wrong to it. If they want to go long ball, that's fine. They're more than entitled to do that. And it's not just that plays into Everton's hands, it plays into our weaknesses as well. We don't deal well with physical forwards or long ball merchants that are just going to be there to kind of bully us a little bit. That is when we tend to crumble. But the fact that the kind of overarching narrative to this game is that, yes, Everton kind of bopped us on the nose and had us worried. We ultimately find enough within us with our quality to go on and win the game and have 9 points from 12. And we go, wow, okay, we're a good side again. Happy days, everybody.
Yeah, it was Everton fans, after the outcome of their previous game as well. What do they need?
Yeah.
Do they need a 3-goal lead? They must be absolutely fuming because, with respect to Everton and Villa, where we are currently at the moment, to have got themselves in that position, that was theoretically the hardest part of the job done.
Yeah.
In hindsight now, they've probably been better off just keeping it tight and just 0-0 for as long as possible and not giving us that bop on the nose.
Well, they tend to. That's their game, isn't it? Once they're going up, they're going to get time waste and they're going to go down injured, and then they're absolutely fine. Like that's what they're going to do. And again, I don't particularly like it, but if that's how Everton are going to get points and survive, fair play, do what they like. But they, like you say, they've done the hard work, and I was expecting it to be difficult for us. And yes, it was to an extent, but we still created chances. Watkins probably could have scored another couple, but in the same vein, Calvert-Lewin should be scoring probably a hat trick today with some of the chances he's had. So. A strange game overall, not the kind of control or comfort that I'm used to or would like from an Emery side, but we're still in kind of the flashes and the moments that we had much better quality than Everton do.
I loved it as a football match, to be honest.
Great for the neutral.
In terms of entertainment, you kind of come out of the international break and it disrupts momentum, doesn't it? International breaks in the club season. And it was like, okay. But as soon as I think I wouldn't say as soon as they scored, but you just knew it was going to be a contest rather than a walkover. And listen, we'd have still been eulogising and enjoying it if your score prediction of 5-1 would have come true. But it was a lively game. You couldn't take your eyes off it all through the game because I think that I'm jumping chronologically, but that Calvert-Lewin chance when he's gone round Martinez. I don't think he thinks Conce's anywhere near him. And even then, I thought Conce's touch might be sticking it in the bottom corner himself. So I was relieved to see it go wide. But that was a crucial one for me because I think it was 2-1 still at that stage. And 3-1, even Villa against Everton, makes it a harder mountain to climb. So that was a big moment for me.
Can we talk about the Everton fans very quickly? I said in the preview, I've got a lot of respect for Everton. There's some similarities between Everton and Villa, particularly in the here and now where Everton are possibly going. They've kind of circled the plug hole for a number of years now. As you say, to go 2-0 up in back-to-back games. I mean, the Bournemouth one was obviously horrific circumstances, but to go 2-0 up in 2 games and go with 0 points is the sign of a team that you just find a way to lose, which ultimately ends in one place, and that's the Championship. The fans, like I say, I've got respect for them. I like Everton. They're giving it early big licks, I would say. Like they're chanting like Amadou Onana's name because he's involved in giving the ball away is a bit weird. The song, somebody says in the comments, what was the song with the high pitched woo? Don't know, but again, a bit weird. Like again, away fans, they're there for that moment to experience it. They don't get many highs, Everton, so they're going to celebrate whatever they can get. Great limbs for the goals, but just their kind of general going early. I'd have a 2-0 up, but do you know what I mean? It just felt
I don't
weird.
mind that because I think you've nailed it there when you said they don't have much to chant about. So if you can't,
I suppose, yeah.
they probably know
They're going to lose anyway, so let's enjoy it. Yeah,
they're going to lose the game anyway, so they'll probably be, out the ground and into the pubs by the last 10 minutes of the game anyway. So why not enjoy it while you can? And I thought the Onana stuff was fine because ultimately that's on them if they want to mock too soon. Yeah. I mean, on Onana, he seems like a lovely fella, doesn't he? But I thought it was funny. He's taken off at half time. I don't know whether that was tactical or injury wise, but he's taken off at half. Yeah. And I love the fact that at the end of the game, he's still the one who's lapping it up more than anybody. He's giving the kind of the fist pump to the whole end, and then he's like taking the acclaim of.
That is a horrific noise. Is that your mic? Okay, it is. Wow, that is horrific. I've put you on mute. Can you leave and come back again? Because I just had my ears blasted off like the rest of the audience. Apologies for those that are watching live. That was horrific. It's like mad, really loud static. That was horrible. Apologies to everyone who's just had a heart attack like me. Matt, if you can just leave and come back and hopefully that fixes it. I'll read some comments out. Ant Walsh said some of these wins are not going to be pretty, but we are managing to find a way. Everton went for the juggler today, but we had more quality, which is pretty much the perfect summary of that game. Now all the comments are filled with people going, "What the hell was that?" So I'm going to have to scroll back. India, the fact that we're winning with Bogard is brilliant. So much experience and willing mentality, I suppose you could say. Matt is back. Let's just read one more comment. Good to see Buendia back on the park. Some lovely touches and passes, says Stephen. Yes, agree. Please, let's hope this is okay. If it's terrible, I'm doing this on my own.
Hello.
Okay, good. That was horrible. Listen back to this after. That was like a horrible noise.
How come I never heard it?
Because it's your mic and you haven't got headphones in.
So the feedback, you get the feedback. I don't understand the science of it, mate. But anyway, for another day.
Don't worry about it. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, because if it does, I will die, probably. Let's talk about another couple of individuals. We were touching on Onana there, but I think you made your point. Ollie Watkins, a lot of I don't know, overreactionary caution maybe to his start to the season, that he's clearly not really quite fit. He only played 60 minutes in the first 3 games, pulls out of England duty, yet to score a goal. Are all those worries kind of flooded away when he scores 2 goals and we go, oh yeah, that's what he does?
Yeah, I don't think is it back again?
No, I'm just joking.
Don't do that. So I think it's just your new way of shutting me up when I'm just going on too much about a point, just pretending that you and the audience in this secret. Yeah, you've upset me now. Kicking me off. What was the question? Watkins. I never subscribed to the theory that if Watkins goes 5 games without a goal, then his time is done. Anyway, I'm never really thought that. And we've said, haven't we? They're kind of like buzzes, aren't they? They come in little clusters when they come. And sometimes you get that break. Don't you get that change in look? And when the opposition are setting you up as neatly as Jack Harrison did for his second goal, then you know that he's back in business. I think he probably could have had 2 or 3 more himself, couldn't he? That one when Rodgers has stuck it just out of his reach across the box.
I think Rodgers should have shot then.
I don't know. He probably made the right choice, just didn't execute it. I mean, interestingly, I know we're talking Ollie Watkins, but Rodgers was an interesting one today, and I'm probably inclined to agree with Emery. What good is it? I know he did well, Rodgers, and scored a couple of goals for the under-21s, but what is he learning? What is anybody learning about Rodgers putting him there? And listen, he's an athlete in the prime of his life, but I do think that I don't think Rodgers going with under-21s necessarily benefited Aston Villa, and I do wonder if he hadn't have gone, would we have seen Rodgers a little bit sharper? I still thought he played well, but the execution of some of the things that he did, he wasn't quite on it for me.
Yeah, I agree.
And that was a case in point. You know, I think he probably did make the right choice to slot it across to Watkins, but take a little bit off it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken obviously a lot in the international break, more so I suppose, about the kind of relationship between Watkins and Duran. Like, is it time for Duran to start? Is Watkins off the boil? Can he handle being not the main man anymore? All these different conversations, which, are valid, but ultimately that today is like the perfect way that you want your strikers to play the game. Ollie Watkins has scored the brace to get us back into it. Duran comes off the bench to score the winner. Like, everyone is happy in that situation. Everyone's done the job that they've been asked to do. It's now in a period where we've got Young Boys on Tuesday, Wolves next week, Wickham, and then Ipswich, I think it is, before Man United, Bayern Munich, and then the international break. So lots and lots of games coming up of almost different statures, different competitions where both will get to play, both will absolutely score goals, and that is how you want the season to go and how it probably will pan out. They'll both have their moments. Duran will start games at some point, but Watkins got the nod today, missing England through injury, but gets his 2 goals that are kind of customary and as you would expect. So that's almost like the perfect scenario that you want from your forward line, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think he'll rotate them a little bit between the Champions League and the Premier League. I think when we get to Wickham,
oh God, bloody hellfire! This is a shambles. So the preview that we did yesterday, John's Wi-Fi went. Matt's had his weird audio problem, and now his webcam's just turned off. And I know why it is, because he's got one of those stupid USB adapters with about 10,000 cables in it. Is that why?
I am here, I don't know why you've been so horrible to me today.
I'm not being horrible. I'm just trying to give context to the audience.
When I tweet and I tweet out that nasty Dan Rolinson told me to do this and that,
which are lies.
It's meant.
Oh, what were you saying, Matt? What was that? What was that point you were trying to make there about that I was the one in the wrong? I'm just going to sit back and he can deal with this mess. Now the audio's terrible. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Thank you for joining us. For those that have watched the last couple of episodes on YouTube, by the way, I will apologise. I think there's a conversation here that we may have to stop doing live streams because the last 2 have been horrific. Horrific's probably an overstatement, but John's Wi-Fi yesterday and this today is terrible. For those that are listening, I obviously can tidy this up and we can pretend it never happened, but that doesn't make it any less bad. So my sincere apologies to those that are watching watching this on YouTube as it unfolds. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do in this situation. I can't really read comments because they're all just talking about this situation now. A lot of people saying they enjoy this shambles, which, I mean, yeah, well, that says more about you lot than it does about us, I think, to be honest. I'm not quite sure where to go from here. I want to talk about Tielemans. I want to talk about Ross Barkley, but I don't want to do it on my own. So I'll give it a couple more minutes. What I will ask, and I'm going to ask this to Matt when he does get here later, when that happens. Where does the Jhon Duran goal rank for you that saw that live in the stadium this evening? Where does that rank in terms of the best goals that you've seen live? That is the question. I was going to ask my esteemed co-host before he started slagging me off, and he's the one that's let us down. Somebody said that we need a hard-wired internet for a live podcast. He has got that. It's not an internet problem. It's a webcam problem. Let's hope it's not an audio problem. Here we go.
You can hear me, can't you? Can't see me.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible.
My mic gone blocked.
Yeah, it's just bad, mate. I don't think we're going to be able to carry on, Don't swear. You are live on Current Blue Podcast. Oh, it just sounds so bad. I'm going to mute you for a second. Yeah, I don't know what we do from this point, to be honest. for those obviously that are listening on audio, none of this will be included. So, there he is. There he is. Is the audio good?
Hello.
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 Oh, Christ
Am I
almighty.
back?
Yes, you're back. And what was
Well,
that?
I'm not-
That you were slagging me off before you went, were you?
I was just saying how nasty you are. We have technical problems, Dan. You know, these old folks like me who don't know about season ticket cards on phones and VHS video recorders and Sony Walkman and all these kind of newfangled things. So just be patient with me, okay?
This week, I'm going to have to come around your house and see if I can fix these problems. If that's okay with you.
Sounds like a threat. I'm going to come around your house and fix your microphone.
With a baseball bat. No, I'm joking. Right, let's crack on with this podcast for once and for all, so I can wipe the sweat off my brow for trying to carry this live stream. There's a couple of players. What were we talking about before you went? Were we talking about a player? Watkins? Oh, we spoke about Watkins. I don't care. Next. Let's do the... Sponsored by NordVPN, it's the Man of the Match award, and I will accept 2 choices if you cannot narrow it down to 1. Now, I think there's one obvious answer for Man of the Match award, but if you can only narrow it down to less than 1, I will take those. If you can talk, go for it.
You're so partridge, aren't you? On that. You know, when you were reading the comments out on your own as well, did you ever watch, was it Mid Morning Matters when he does his radio?
Yeah.
Norfolk Digital, whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
I mean, hopefully those comments aren't stitching me up in the same way that that Partridge's were. I like to think I play into that a little bit. I don't really think I'm like that in real life. I think this is a bit of a podcast persona that I put on a little. Like that video is clearly a joke. Man of the match. Have you got one? Have you got 2?
Christ, who would I give it to?
I think there's an obvious answer here.
Well, the random one I'd give. I know it's the obvious one. I thought Tielemans played really, really well.
That is the one. I thought he was excellent. I think he's been our best player so far this season.
Yeah, so that's your man. I didn't know whether you were leaning because old Thunder Pants or Watkins scoring 2 goals. I didn't know whether you were leading me down that path, but yeah, I'll give it Tielemans.
Yeah, I think Tielemans was my obvious shout. Obviously, Duran has scored the Thunder punt, and Watkins has got a brace. But yeah, Tielemans not contributing in terms of the goal or the assist in any of the games, I don't think, this season. He's certainly not scored. I don't know who's got an assist, but I think his level is improved massively over the last 6 months or something. That when we spoke about... just did a comment there that's slagging off the size of my forehead, which has made me laugh, and I shouldn't have read it out, but I have. That when we speak out like, oh, Tielemans was Douglas Luiz's replacement like 12 months in advance, some people didn't really buy that as a kind of, well, they were there at the same time. How is he a replacement? But in terms of like, he is now in the 11, I think we're at a stage now, I might be kind of over-egging the pudding a little bit here, that Tielemans is undroppable. I think like Kamara coming back poses a bit of a problem for us in a good way. I don't think you can take Tielemans out of that side now. I think he's absolutely crucial.
Yeah, I think he's been brilliant. I thought the big bold statement we were going to make was that he was better than Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz did it over several seasons, different players, but I think the thing that impressed me today about the way the midfield really was, I thought we lacked width today. I think we've got Bogard who's still feeling his way in, so I don't think. An attacking, marauding right back, he's particularly in his locker anyway, so he's there defensively.
Yeah.
So we've got McGinn. We haven't got natural width in that team really. Luca Dean, he's not Ian Matson when it comes to pushing forward, although he's obviously got the assist today, Dean. So what impressed me about the midfield, Everton were camped in, but we were still being able to play through them. Really patient play. Ross Barkley in the second half on the halfway line has played a little bit like Emi Martinez on the edge of his box sometimes in terms of just waiting and being very patient with it, with the passing. I think Tielemans plays into that a lot. I think he's very patient, side to side, and then he'll just pull out a slide rule pass from nowhere and it'll be perfect. And if it goes into the feet of a Morgan Rogers or Ollie Watkins on the half turn, he gets us going again. I think he's been brilliant. I think he really has. And hark back a year ago, and we're like the Leicester fans were slagging him off, saying his legs have gone.
Yeah.
You're welcome to him. He's lazy and all this kind of stuff. And because he wasn't fit for those first couple of months, you're like, are they right? You know, have we ended up with a Danny Drinkwater again? I know he's a lot younger and a lot more to offer than that, but yeah, I agree with you. I think he's been outstanding.
Yeah, you kind of forget how young Tielemans is. I was about to Google it, but my keyboard is disconnected. I think he's 27, I want to say, which is, still, he's in the prime, really, because he's been around for so long. And to talk about like the Wayne Rooney thing, that he played a lot of minutes early on, so is he kind of beyond his age anyway? Yeah. But he plays in the way of like a very experienced 32, 33-year-old that keeps things ticking really nicely. Whereas, still got hopefully a lot of legs in him to come. The other player that I wanted to single out as an individual was Ross Barkley as well, who came on against Leicester and obviously this evening. And again, a very kind of understated performance where he just kept things going really nicely, really calm, really composed. I've not seen maps or anything like that, but I'd imagine most of his passes are really kind of short, sideways, backwards, but just keeping the flow going. And as a substitute option to bring him off the bench rather than an Irabunum or a Dendonka or Callum Chambers playing in midfield or whatever it is firstly a huge upgrade, but just kind of bringing that influence onto the team to keep things calm, keep things ticking. Is such an underrated asset to have on your bench. This kind of metronome player that will just kind of keep ticking really nicely.
I think it's probably a silly thing to say because how old must he be now, Dan? Late 20s. I think he's got a maturity about him, which don't necessarily. I know he's not the wonder boy who burst onto the scene at Goodison Park all those years ago, but I don't know. I've always felt Ross Barkley, probably harshly in the past, that in it for the glory, for a lot, the way I don't mean quite a selfish player, but I think he's more of a team player, or he's come back to us more of a team player, almost prepared to sacrifice himself a little bit by doing that patient role rather than being the one who's bursting through and getting the glory. Listen, that's only based on a 20-minute, no, actually coming at halftime in a 45-minute performance today. But I think that's what I see about him, that patience and maturity. And he realises that if he wants to be in and around an Emery team, he's got to do an Emery job. And that means being very, very, I say safe with the ball. I don't mean that to the extent that he won't move it into dangerous areas, but first and foremost, help us exert control on this game by keeping the ball.
Yeah, Tielemans is 27 and Barkley's 30, so pretty much bang on with our age estimates. Is there anybody else I wanted to talk about? Not particularly. I know we always do like a lot of waffle about silly other things. I don't really want to venture into that because there's more important things to talk about. I'm just so wary of your internet just absolutely killing us at one point. So the final thing potentially that I wanted to mention was, whilst you were away, I started to talk about how Jhon Duran's goal ranks in terms of the best that you've seen live inside a stadium. And the comments started to roll through to help me, which I just read and didn't read any out because you came back. So I'll scroll back to those. Is there any that stand out for you as like it compares to this one that I've seen in my X amount years of following the club?
Probably most of the ones they stick on that montage before the game. It'll be on there soon. I don't know. I mean, I always remember fondly. I bang on about it a lot. But I think the goalkeeper was smaller than Pickford that day when Dean Saunders has scored, probably from 40 yards or whatever, 45 yards or 100 yards, depending on us banging on about it. Different types of goals, isn't it? The Angel goal that's played on the big screens as well. I said to the fella next to me today, long before Duran had scored, but that Carew goal against Stoke, really underrated. You just don't see anybody just strike the ball like that, do you? With like a top spin shot, like a top spin lob, wasn't it, in tennis or something? So that
we're about to start to venture here into pure peak Barclaysman content that has been doing the rounds on Twitter. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I've seen a bit of it. I think from a Villa point of view, I saw a kind of Benteke. Benteke scored some bangers as well, hasn't he? So there'd be a few of his in there as well.
Yeah, not having that for Barclaysman though. That's too late in the era for me.
But when was it then? Like 2006 or something?
I think I'm pretty sure when it was called the Barclays Premiership, it was like 2002 to 2015 or something maybe. So Benteke would come into it. But I think of like that mid 2000s. I think Ashley Young is probably Villa's shout, like the peak Ashley Young, the Everton goal, 2008 or whatever it was. That kind of era is what I would go towards. Carew, obviously a shout as well.
Yeah, we've wandered off territory anyway. I'm not so fussed about Barkley's man. I'm more fussed about Thunder punts.
A couple of goals in the comments to see if these ring any bells. Matt Lowson's volley at Stoke.
Yes,
Obviously
I was there for that.
an away game. Well, you're there for that. Okay, that's a decent one then. Gary Cahill's bicycle kick.
Yeah.
Dalian Atkinson's lob at Wimbledon. Hutton against the Blues. Harahan against the Blues. Grealish against the Blues. Common theme there. John McGinn's goal, Sheffield Wednesday, which is probably up there, but just tinged ever so slightly by the fact we didn't win the game.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that really counts in terms of just the best goal ever, but Duran is a winner in the Premier League. Very different. Tony Morley versus Sunderland when we won the league, says Simon, which is a nice place to end that conversation. Any others you can think of very quickly?
Alan Wright scored a banger, didn't he? I can't remember. It was against Steve Staunton against Man United.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the screamers when they just hit so cleanly.
We're talking here about something ever so slightly different, but do you think there's a little bit of an extra pizzazz, if you like, when it's a left footer?
I am a left footer, you see, so
there we go.
I think it is a bit sweet. Although another great goal was Gareth Barry actually coming in on his right foot and curling one past Tottenham. That was a great one as well. But it's just, I think it's just the ferocity, isn't it? You know, you're talking back about would he? I don't know whether he qualifies as a Barkley's man or whether he was too early, but like that, you know, the Tony Yeboah strikes where it just kind of sits up and he absolutely leathers it. It's just that. I mean, I think even a goalkeeper with normal size arms would have struggled to reach to reach Duran's today. What was he doing? What was he thinking? Why did he attempt that?
I don't know. Did he just? It wasn't even like a frustration thing, was it? Of like, oh, I've just had a bad booking or whatever, and I'm just going to leather it. He's seen that. He's like, oh, there's a chance. Maybe he thought Pickford's not in a great position, or I can just get this away here. But he was the only guy in that stadium who saw that coming.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like West Ham fans watching Match of the Day tonight. We better not call it the Colombian Hammer because it nearly was one, wasn't it? Just seeing them thinking, oh my God, we could have had a piece of this guy. And on a similar thing, you just know that Chris Heck is already working on a range of I was there when Jhon Duran scored that absolute thunder punt. T-shirts, hats, pens, beer mats. They'll be out there, mate. I'm telling you, they'll be out there. He'll be selling them out of the back of a car boot on the North Stand car park by tomorrow morning, I reckon.
Excellent. Good stuff. Okay. The final thing I wanted to mention was a comment right at the start of the podcast from Rob. And I'm going to combine your love of Duran's goal this evening and lovely, delicious desserts. Rob says, if Duran's goal was a pudding, what would it be?
Oh,
I mean, this is what you're here for, really. Half an hour in, we finally got to good stuff.
Well, my favourite dessert, because I don't say pudding now, because I've moved from Rowley Reach into Lapple. My favourite dessert is trifle. So I've not gone that. I've not gone that posh. So I'm going to go for trifle because it's got the word rifle in there.
Good
as well. So
I thought you were leaning into the Colombian flag with the yellow custard and the red jelly or whatever.
I'll have a bit of that as well, but you've just got me craving trifle now, really. So, what pudding would it be for you?
I didn't think of the question. I didn't think of the answer. Sorry, I only thought to read the question. So, yeah, I don't know, something. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything stupid. No point. Chocolate sponge and mint custard, says Paul. Custard, pure custard, says Heralio. You don't trifle with Jhon Duran, says Fred. Or jam roly-poly, says King81. And I think that's a good place to end this chaotic
I'll give a couple
podcast.
of shout-outs.
I mean, if you can actually get them on camera and on your microphone, yeah?
Yeah, well, I've written them down somewhere. I've got another couple of really stupid quick things to mention as well.
Okay, go on.
What was it? So a fella called Steve Kelsall. So he accosted me before the game. Lovely fella. So Steve said, "I'll be listening if we win." So you've got your shout out, Steve. I wouldn't have bothered if we'd have lost. And the other one, who did we say? I've got to find this guy because I saw him and his son at half time. Lee and Jack from Solihull. So they predicted this. I saw them at half time and we were 2-1 down. They predicted a 4-2 win. But
okay.
near enough. The only one thing I wanted to mention because it made me laugh. Did you see when Pau's boot came off?
Yeah.
And Ollie Watkins he didn't rather than going over and taking it to him. And I mean, Emery must be that keen on shape that Watkins. I don't care whether Power's playing on one leg. You're not moving his boot to him. He just started waving it like he was like directing the traffic with it. Just made me laugh. And the other thing, what did you think of the new advertising?
You know what?
Around the ground.
This is probably going to be relatively relatable to maybe, I don't know, a couple of thousand people, but sitting in the Trinity, I think this is where you're going with this as well. I've looked at cardboard advertising boards opposite me on the Doug Ellis for the last 17 years or whatever it is that I've had a season ticket, 15 years. So I'm used to just like seeing the game and the crowd and not any like distractions of an advertising board, even just like the ones at the bottom. So today, when like the Batano first came on, I was like, where's my sunglasses? Like, it was bright, it was in your face. I got used to it within like a couple of minutes, but it was like really like one for the senses to begin with. But like the whole end are used to seeing it from the rest of the stadium and likewise. But I think for those that are in the Trinity, sitting directly opposite a stand that you're used to being like still, because it's been cardboard advertising boards since forever. So now have like 2 rows of it in your face flashing was a bit like, whoa, do you agree? Or am I a weirdo?
Yeah, I thought, I get weird eyesight anyway. And I thought it was, if Batano changed their colours to claret and blue, I think it'd be fine, but it was so stark that red and white.
It's going to give a real glow, isn't it, on a night game? Kind of really heat the pitch up with the orange.
But have you ever driven through Bearwood on a late at night, and there's that 24-hour shop called, I think it's called the Pop Shop or something. I drive past that way on my way back from Villa, and it's like it's just like you said, it's an explosion to your senses. But again, I'm not going to come on and moan about that because that might have saved £5 on a Champions League ticket. If part of the advertising is to make sure that you bombard everybody and get your message across loud and clear, and that gets you an extra £1 million in the bank or whatever, then I'll get used to it. I'll just have to probably get some bifocals or something, I think, next time I'm there.
I got used to it very quickly, but to begin with, it was like, whoa, this is weird. I liked it though, like having the team news come across it, goal flashing, all that. The little like even above every gangway, is it where you get out of the? Is it called a gangway still? They've got like at the end of the game it said exit, and during the game I had a look at that Adidas logo, whatever. All those things just like make Villa Park look like an actual stadium. It's from 2024 rather than 1994. So thumbs up. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was. If I am going to have a moan, the banner's gone, hasn't it?
I think that's coming back. I saw on Twitter, Jacob Tanswell said that it's going to be on the Holt end.
Oh, right, okay.
I mean, there's stuff on the Holt end already, so where it's going to go, I don't know. But yeah, that's what he said.
Okay, I'll hold fire my strongly worded letter to Mr. Heckling. So
what I thought you were going to say is your stupid thing for the podcast, and we will go in a second before disaster comes. The prize where it lies.
Oh, mate, what are they doing?
Bring it forward for the poor kids.
Oh, you know what I think? And this is me being super cynical again. I think Heck and Co. have thought, I know what we'll do. We'll increase the prizes. We'll make them look more desirable. But there's a catch. We can't let anybody play who can kick it far enough to reach halfway line. They've got to be under 7 years of age and under 4 feet tall. Genius.
The Arsenal game, I think 2 kids. It was kids then as well, and the first 2 kids won it, I think, and the third one
was
a
little bit bigger though, weren't they?
They were bigger kids. This one, I think it was like, and next up is James. He's 5, and it's like he's kicking it from the byline. He's got no chance. Like, with all due respect to James, he might be the next best thing, but he's not going to reach the halfway line, and he didn't. I think he slipped as well. I don't think it was James, but for the sake of the podcast, and everyone around us was like, "Come on, surely the kids can have this." Another 50 yards up the pitch or something. Let them win something. I thought that's what your silly moan was going to be.
It was. It did amuse me. I'll tell you what else amused me as well. This is showing my real ignorance now. But the guy that they introduced at half time, the medalist from Paris, I couldn't even tell you who it was. Do you know who it was?
Sadly, not. No.
I just love the way Russ, who's the man on the mic, has done the chat with him, saying how proud you are, etc., etc. And then he's introduced prize where it lies, saying something, and he's almost compared it, like say, undermine this fella's achievement by saying, and something that's just as competitive or just as great to win. And I'm thinking, this man here is really going to swap his medals for some, prize pool, whatever they're called. What points are they called?
Pride reward points or
Pride
something.
reward points. That's it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Forget me medals. This is just as important.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that amused me.
Matt Hudson-Smith, the comments say, Olympic medalist. I think it was something like 400 meters off the top of my head, and he got a silver and a bronze, which great, but not my sport. Yeah, let's just move on before I get cancelled. Right, we done?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say. I think first home win.
Got there in the end, didn't we? Bloody hell, what a chore that was. Thank you for joining me in the parts where you joined me. We will try and fix things in future. I said while you were away, we might have to not do these live anymore, which would be quite a shame, so I enjoy doing them live. But if we've had technical problems 2 days in a row now, which is not the standard I would like for this podcast. So we'll either try and fix them, or we'll have to do them pre-recorded, which will be a shame. But thanks everyone who did join us live, and my apologies to those that had to put up with some of that. 500 of you still watching though at 10 o'clock on a Saturday evening, so fair play to you. Thank you very much. For those that listened on audio, you'll have had a much better experience and probably be thinking, what connection problems? What are you talking about? So yeah, thank you for tuning in, whether that's live or after the fact. Matt, thank you for joining me. I can tell you want to say something else.
It's just something I wanted to mention about the kind of in-game action about, the one where that Calvert-Lewin's hit the crossbar. That one. That was a foul. I felt he bullied. I felt he bullied Pau Torres a lot of the time, but bullied him legitimately. But I thought that was a foul because I'm convinced that if he'd have scored that, VAR would have had to take a massive, long, hard look at it. I just wonder what you thought about that, and then I'll let you go.
I can't remember too much, to be honest, without checking it back. But I thought the goal that did get given for them, first one, I think, when Onana is fouled in the build-up. Well, I thought he was fouled. I thought that was possibly going to come back to a free kick to Villa, possibly, but it didn't. So obviously, it wasn't a foul. But the one you're talking about,
I didn't see a foul in that one. I felt that he just lost the ball, but I thought I've not seen it back, the Calvert-Lewin one, but it just seemed like a little bit too much of a shove for me. But anyway, it's too late to talk football. We're done.
I love that we've done basically all of the outro and then a bit of chat about Calvert-Lewin and then the outro again. Beautiful. Matt, thank you for joining me as always. Thanks everyone for watching or listening. No Q&A on Monday because Jhon is travelling to Switzerland as we face Young Boys in the Champions League. We'll be doing a post-match. I'm not going to get into that now. We'll be doing a post-match on Tuesday evening. Might be you and me if we can get your internet sorted. If Jhon has enough time, we'll do like a mini preview of him in Switzerland after or before the press conference, get a bit of a flavour for what it's like over there. So that'll be Monday's video. Tuesday will be post-match, and then we might do a Q&A at the back end of the week. But we won't have our kind of usual Monday morning slot because there's no point.
How do you make a Swiss roll?
Push him down a hill.
Yes.
There we go. See you tomorrow.